morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the TT podcast. The second week of the Giro d'Italia is over. History has been made, stomachs have been upset, and Simon Philip Yates has gotten back to winning ways. Now joining me to run through the action from stages 10 to 15 is my co-host Tom. Tom, how are you?
Hi everyone, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I never know what to say at this part because I know you're going to hand over to me after the introduction. I never have anything to say, but it's been a good week. It feels quite short just with this the way the Giro's done this year. 6 stages between rest days. I feel like it's often more. I don't know.
We had 9 in the last rest day recap. This one we've only got 6.
That's I don't know. I probably said this last time out as well, but I'm just completely thrown by the whole thing, starting in the wrong country for 3 stages and then having a rest day straight away. Well,
all 3 Grand Tours this year start in different countries, so we can look forward to more confusion on your part, Tom.
Yeah, where does the Vuelta start?
Now you're questioning me. I think it is starting in the Netherlands.
I think you might be right. I was going to say, if it's one of those, it's just across the border. It doesn't really matter. But
I think it's because it was supposed to start in the Netherlands in one of the COVID years, and they never got it. And the Vuelta was only like 18 stages that year.
Well, that was the same as Copenhagen with the Tour, wasn't it? They pushed. Oh no, and then they pushed it back. Was it not meant to be 2020? And then they couldn't do it last year because Copenhagen was hosting the Euros at the same time, and they said we can't have the football and the cycling in the same city on the same day.
Well, we've got Copenhagen this year.
Yeah.
It's all very confusing, and for friends of ours who do not follow cycling, it's very difficult to explain to them that the Giro d'Italia starts in Hungary, the Vuelta a España starts in the Netherlands, and the Tour de France starts in Copenhagen.
Yeah, Copenhagen to northern France is quite an easy transfer though, rather than Budapest to Sicily.
Well, even the Netherlands to Spain, you got to get right across. Anyway, Tom, Giro d'Italia, let's talk about it. Stage 10 into Jesse. Jesse? Jesi.
Yeah, great place. As I've probably touched on this last time, but I go there a lot.
Perfect. Well, should we start with the more pressing narrative from that day, which is Biniam Girmay's historic win?
As I say, is that the more pressing? I thought okay. What happened afterwards was quite pressing as well.
That as well. So, I mean, let's start with the win. We all knew it was coming. He almost took a wrong turn, 6.5 kilometers to go, lost a lot of placing, but managed to get himself back in there, contested the sprint, won, became the first Black African to win a Grand Tour stage. Earlier this season, he was the first Black African to win a World Tour race in Gent-Wevelgem, and he's only 22.
Yeah, and it was some finish as well. Him and Van der Poel, they launched the sprint from a long way out, it seems to be. It was one of those...
proper slow-mo one, wasn't it?
Yeah, really, really hammering it down. Just looked like they were getting nowhere. It looked painful.
Now, I thought it was a classy touch from Van der Poel to give a little thumbs up. And there was part of me that thought, has he just gifted that?
I was about to say, you texted me saying exactly that. And I was like, no, I think he knew he was beaten on the day and just hold your hands up, beaten by the better man. Well done. Yeah,
exactly, Simon. And as is customary here, I've been doing some research.
Okay.
And I've looked beyond the sprint as to reasons why Mathieu van der Poel could not perform to his best ability in that sprint.
I would preface that by saying I'm not sure Mathieu van der Poel didn't perform to his best ability. He might just not have been as quick.
No, I completely agree with you. That is correct. The better phrasing would be why he looked so cooked in that sprint and why he couldn't even make it to the line.
Okay.
He put in a very big dig with 5 kilometers to go, right? That's the immediate, precedent before the game, before the finale. But Tom, let's look back to December and January. What is Mathieu van der Poel usually doing in December and January that gives him a lot of explosive power?
He's riding cyclocross.
What did he not do this year?
He didn't ride cyclocross.
He didn't ride cyclocross. He never did a cyclocross season. He did one race at Dendermonde and finished second, and he DNF'd another. He did 2 cyclocross races and only finished one of them.
Oh, didn't he? He had a broken back or something, didn't he? It was a pretty difficult winter for him.
He did. He also didn't really race for a lot of months before that, so it's very understandable. But of course, the overarching thing to that victory was that Girmay was more powerful and rode very, very smart.
He did. I mean, I just thought it was a complete role reversal of the opening stage when Van der Poel took the maglia rosa, because he seemed to come from a long way back, and the way he went round Girmay there was unexpected because I thought it would be closer between them. And then this time as well, Girmay went first again, but this time was able to hold him off, and Van Poeltje didn't have it.
Absolutely smoked him. And then, Tom, as you were kind of alluding to earlier, Girmay kind of smoked himself.
As you said, he's not won many races, so he clearly doesn't have that much experience with the champagne bottles, or prosecco in this case, because we're in Italy. But a cork to the eye is you're warned about it every time you open a bottle of sparkling wine. Everyone, the first thing you're told is just point it away from.
Don't point it at anyone else. Yeah. Don't point it at yourself.
So yeah, it's a learning experience for him, and as long as he keeps winning more races, I'm sure he'll have a chance to get it right.
Absolutely. I've been doing some research, Tom. I've been bringing in some more science here.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the video of the cork to the eye fiasco.
It looked painful.
It looked very painful, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And what I was confused about was he untwists the little, the metal casing cap thing that you get.
Yep.
He untwists it, and before he even touches the cork, it's in his eye. Now, I was confused, and I was like, why is that? Any bottle of champagne or prosecco I've opened, which is very few, by the way, never does that. Now, the reason for that, Tom, I've found out for you and the listener at home.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to hear this.
It's all to do with the carbon dioxide in the bottle. Carbon dioxide gives the champagne or the prosecco or any fizzy drink its fizz. Yeah?
Not
and that's
Guinness.
How it's pressurized. Not okay, right. Let's
bit of trivia for you. That's why Guinness gets the downward bubbles.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Because I think they put hydrogen or something in there, and nitrogen, one of those two in there instead.
Okay, right. Well, let's not confuse it here. We're all following here. Carbon dioxide equals fizz under pressure in the bottle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to get into the science of this. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in cold temperatures. For the layman, that means that carbon dioxide is basically in the liquid in cold temperatures. Yeah?
Yep.
In warmer temperatures, so for example, when a giant bottle of Prosecco is left out in the sun all day on a podium in Italy, the carbon dioxide is less, I'm getting confused there. The carbon dioxide is less soluble, so it's not in the water as such, and I think it's then kind of just pressurizing the bottle even more.
Yeah.
It's kind of in that air gap. That's where the carbon dioxide goes when it heats up. Now, what happens there?
It gets very lively.
It gets very lively, and it doesn't require much for it to just blow its top.
As I said, you see the guys who are experienced with it. I watched the Grand Prix yesterday, and I've never seen it happen there. These guys know what they're doing with the magnums of. They were in Barcelona, so it's probably Carver. As I say, Max Verstappen had no problem spraying it all over the whoever else was on the podium with him yesterday. So there's definitely an art to it, and I think they don't do a lot of spraying it about on them. To be fair, cycling, you go to Amstel Gold and you get the giant beer or whatever instead. There's not actually that many. The cycling podium's a very different atmosphere to a Formula One podium after a Grand Prix.
So maybe maybe we just need to have the giant beer at every single race then.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not many races, is there, where sparkling wine would women's tour this year, they go straight through champagne country every day. That'll be Oh,
you're saying you need to really justify having the sparkling stuff there?
Yeah, well, to be fair, even the F1, when they go to the countries in the Middle East where there's obviously not any alcohol, they have some sort of sparkling grape
juice, like a Schlur.
Yeah, it is like a big magnum of Schlur.
Okay, well, we've seen after that stage, the organisers thought, right, we can't be doing with the international press of this again. So they've taken all the corks out. And we saw later, what I saw anyway, Simon Philip Yates, because he was one of the only ones who I watched all the way through to the podium.
I was going to say the following day, they had the cheese stage, didn't they? That can't have posed the same problems as the Prosecco the day before.
Yes, the big Parmigiano cheese stage.
Yeah.
Won by Alberto Dainese, craftfully handed to him.
As I say, you're going to want to talk through this one, aren't you?
By his lead out, Romain Bardet. I've not really got much to say about this one. It was a classic sprint. Quite interesting to see Bardet pulling through on the front in the final moments. I think it's
the poisson pilote, as the French call it.
Yes, this was a phrase that we found out. Poisson pilote is the French for lead out man. And Tom, would you like to provide a translation of that?
Well, very literally, it means fish pilot.
The fish pilot.
Yeah.
So on the day, Romain Bardet's fish was Alberto Dainese to get what I think a maiden World Tour win. Good for DSM. Good for Bardet.
Yeah, I mean, about the last good news DSM have had.
Yes, and this is what I wanted to come on to, because we had these two Italian wins back to back, stage 11, stage 12. Stefano Oldani wins from the break. Well done. Great for the Italians. Great for the Giro. Great for the home crowds. Not that interesting racing, or not the biggest. These are the wins that if it comes up on Pointless in like 3 years' time and it says stage winners from the Giro d'Italia 2022, these are the guys you'll forget, with all due respect to them.
I think you get quite a few pointless answers in there anyway, let alone Stefano Oldani.
Now, stage 13, the drama happened within the first 40 kilometers, and it wasn't about the racing.
I know. Look, I know you want to hold your own mini wake here, so I'll just let you get on with it.
Now, Tom has warned me that I'm not to lament too much on this podcast, but it was just all sitting up so right for Romain Bardet. Everything looked perfect. He won the Tour of the Alps. He'd held his own on Blockhouse. He'd held his own on Etna. He'd put in a good time trial in the first week.
He looked like he had the legs. He was in good form.
He looked in really good form. And then he comes down with a stomach bug. And I was reading about it this afternoon. Apparently the night before, he couldn't eat anything at the table around with his teammates. And I bet they were all just sat there staring at him like, come on, Roman, eat up, eat your pasta. We've got a big day tomorrow. He was throwing up all day, all evening. In the morning, he was throwing up. And then when he started the race, I think he threw up again in the neutralized zone because he was so determined
that
he'd try and get through as much as he could. Imagine all those little kids that come up to take a picture with him in the neutral zone. He's there white as a ghost with sick down his front.
Scene out of the In-Betweeners or something.
But yeah, so he got in the car. Now, Tom, where have we seen a familiar sight of a Frenchman getting in the car mid-stage to everyone else's chagrin?
Where?
Not where, but who else have we seen do that?
Oh, well, I was going to say where. I was going to say, I know who. But
on which B road in France?
Yeah. I hope you're talking about Thibaut Pinot here.
I am. And there's something about the French, Tom. And there's something about French riders.
Think about the French. You're not wrong there. There's just something about them.
They have a real fondness for riders who don't win. Look, Demar is winning every day, and I don't see him getting all the plaudits. Historically, they love riders who lose or who come second. And I'm thinking Raymond Poulidor. I'm thinking Thibaut Pinot. I'm thinking now Romain Bardet. All this does add to his appeal.
I'm not sure, but I think they'd have a lot of time for riders who win if they could produce riders who win. You look at the way Julien Alaphilippe is treated when he's fit, and they have quite a lot of time for him as well. It's just there aren't that many good French riders at the moment, so they have to like the guys who come second.
Now, Tom, we have another big Grand Tour coming up this summer that potentially Romain Bardet could be competing in. Now that he's dropped out.
Now, I assume, they've probably had to change his schedule. I get called up on that one all the time. I don't know how to say the word. They've changed his training plan. I would imagine after that, because he's now not got to, especially this final week of the Giro, not having to put yourself through that probably opens up a lot of doors for you later in the season.
Absolutely. And one of my fondest memories of watching cycling live is being on Dutch Corner on Alpe d'Huez and seeing Romain Bardet emerging through the orange clouds and to where he came like 4th or 5th on the stage. But still, that day in 2018, 4 years ago, he was the rider on the road. He attacked like 4 times up that climb. He shook the race up.
That's where the French have had some really good wins. I think of the iconic days on Alpe d'Huez, and I think of Pierre Rolland and people going on to win. And I can imagine, if you're in Alpe d'Huez in the middle of whatever region of France it is, where is it?
The Alps?
Yeah, no, but there's the specific bit, like it's
the Rhone Alp or something, or the.
I can tell you where Pau is because that's where I lived, but and the tour goes there every year as well. But otherwise, and I can tell you where Paris is because it's Paris, but I can't remember where Alpe d'Huez is. It's in France anyway, and I can imagine, if you're the leading French guy on the road, even if you're coming through 3rd or 4th, they're going to be going after you, pushing you up that hill.
So the last time Romain Bardet DNF'd a Grand Tour was the only other time he's DNF'd a Grand Tour. Well, you look frustrated at me here, Tom.
Yeah, because I've just remembered where it is.
The last time he DNF'd a Grand Tour?
No, where Alpe d'Huez is.
Oh, go on.
I think it's in Haute-Savoie.
It could be. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for stopping me there to do that.
Start again.
So the only other time Romain Bardet has DNF'd a Grand Tour was the Tour de France in 2020 when he bowed out after stage 13.
Oh, he actually put this on his Insta story, didn't he?
He did.
Because he came fourth the day before both times as well or something.
He was fourth in the GC at the time. In both races, he was fourth in the GC and bowed out after stage 13. So that's like, he's got to get through that.
There's an omen there.
And that was with a concussion. He bowed out.
Oh, sorry. Well, I assume he's come off the bike somewhere then.
He did. He came off the bike a few days before and he was very, very shaken up, if you remember. I remember because I was also very, very shaken up.
Yeah, your memory will be fresher than mine, where Romain Bardet is concerned.
So we'll see. I mean, he's only ever DNF'd 2 Grand Tours. So we'll see. And hopefully, I would love to see him have a go at the Vuelta, actually. I can't imagine he won't ride another Grand Tour this year.
I would think he would, but I'm not party to those conversations, so I couldn't possibly comment further.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say that stage. I know the stupid comment, but I just want to say that stage as well.
Tom, if we have to be party to these conversations, that makes this whole podcast defunct.
So I was just going to say Arnaud Démare won that stage as well in the end. Very good for him, carrying through the form into the first week. As we said, you've got to take your opportunities as a sprinter once it gets into the back end of the Giro, and he looks, assuming he can get over the climbs, no one's going to take the points jersey off him now, are they?
Yes, chapeau, Arnaud. We kind of have to acknowledge the stage winners on these stages, but as I say, the French love a loser. So Bardet stole all the headlines, and they didn't even care about their winner.
The following day, however,
Great Britain got a winner.
Yeah, there we go. We're back.
Tom, you take the lead on this one.
I've got 3 words for you.
I reckon I can guess what they are, but why don't you give them to me?
I think you already said them in the introduction. It is Simon Philip Yates.
Say it loud and say it proud. Simon Philip Yates, back to winning ways in Torino.
Exactly what I said he does. When I made a comment that said he's probably not lived up to his full potential, and you accused me of doing him some disservice because he is a Vuelta winner. But every Grand Tour, that's what I said, he somehow falls out of contention. He has a bad day, and then you just know he's still there 15 minutes back, but he's one of the best climbers. One of the best climbers I've ever seen. And once he's given that freedom to go, no one can keep pace with him for one day up a mountain.
There are obviously different things at play, but as you say, as soon as you start to write off Simon Philip Yates, out he emerges from the pack with his rug of chest hair exposed, unveiled to the public. Big descent over the line. It was classic Simon Philip Yates. Now, obviously, the people he was with at that point were going for the GC. They weren't going for the stage wins. They were fairly happy to see him go because he was 20 minutes down. So we need to acknowledge that, of course. But that doesn't make his win any less spectacular. I would like to sing the praises of somebody else from that stage, Tom. And it was the person who I think came second, if I remember correctly. And that was an Australian called Jai Hindley.
Okay, yeah. Sing his praises to me.
Now, Jai Hindley's really good at riding a bike, and we don't get to see it very much. Whenever I see Jai Hindley, and it's only ever at the Giro d'Italia, and I had this weird feeling that he only ever rides the Giro d'Italia. And it turns out that is basically correct.
I have to say, I can't really recall seeing him anywhere else.
Yeah, try and think of his race results anywhere else. Try and think of any other race, any other country you've seen Jai Hindley compete in. And it's very difficult to think of it because he only competes at the Giro. The only other Grand Tour that he's ridden was the Vuelta 4 years ago. Since then, he's ridden the Giro every single year. The only other races he rides every year is like Tirreno Adriatico, which is like a mini Giro. I think he rode like Catalunya as well, which isn't far from Italy.
It's strange because he's from Perth, not from Florence. So,
well, no, he rides in Australia as well, but obviously those races aren't that well televised here, so I don't get to see them. And also they're a mad hour.
And then he comes to Europe and just says, "Well, I'm only doing the Italian races."
He's like, "Well, why would I go anywhere else? I'm just going to Italy." It's like these people. It's like these older couples who all they do is go on holiday to one country every single year, and they go to the same place. That is Jai Hindley.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If all you could do was go on holiday to Italy for the rest of your life, I don't think you'd be complaining.
I think that's what you've been doing for the last 4 years as well, Tom.
Yeah, there's extenuating circumstances where I'm concerned.
Another person whose praises we ought to sing are Juan Pedro Lopez.
Yeah, obviously lost the maglia rosa. I boldly claimed he might remain in the top 10.
You want to take that back, or are you going to stick with that?
No, I'll remain true to my word.
Well, if you look at the GC, it's arranged very weirdly. Now you've got the first, it's like 6 or 7 of them are all within 2 minutes of each other. Okay. 8th, you've got Nibali 3 minutes down, then Lopez 4 minutes down.
And there's a 4-minute gap.
Yeah, and then you've got a 4-minute gap to 10th. And I assume outside the top 10, they're all like 20 minutes down.
Well, this next week, we are about to see some massive splits, I would assume. So that'll, at the moment you're looking at Carapaz with Hindley 7 seconds back, Almeida 30 seconds back. So if you count Pozzovivo at 101, there's 5 riders within a minute. We could start seeing real gaps form because there's just mountains after mountains after mountains coming.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you bring up Domenico Pozzovivo here because he's someone that's really impressed me.
I don't know. I wouldn't say he's stood out to me. He's a good bike rider.
Okay, right. No, fair enough. You're entitled to your opinion, of course. What I wanted to say is everybody is impressed at, and I'm going to say his name, and I know I don't usually say his name, Alejandro Valverde.
Oh, and, wow.
You see the pause there.
Are you okay?
I really didn't want to say it. Everyone's impressed at him and everyone's impressed at his age. And you get certain commentators who are really into Spanish riders and they always say, I'm not going to say his name again. I've already said it once. This rider, he's, 60 years old or wherever old he is, look how good he's 42 or something, 41. And they're like, look how good he's going. Look at him. He's holding his own. And then up the road ahead of him is Domenico Pozzovivo, 39 years old, flying high in the top 10, flying high in the top 5. And may I add a little caveat?
When
I say a little caveat, I mean a very big, important caveat, which is that Pozzovivo has never served a doping ban. And if you look at the race results of Domenico Pozzovivo in 2010 and 2011, he has race results, as opposed to the Spanish rider who has no race results. And you're more than welcome to look up why. I'm done.
Good.
I'm finished.
Yes, I'm glad you got in the weekly dig at not just the Spanish rider, but an unnamed commentator as well.
No, I like the unnamed commentator. He's one of my favorites.
I know you do.
But it does upset me when when people in general, sing the praises of a
convicted doper.
Stage 15, Tom.
Stage 15. Shall we move on?
Kanye. Giulio Ciccone, another Italian, the 3rd Italian this week to win a stage.
Home tour, Italian riders, bring it home. They haven't actually had any winners before this, so they're making up for lost time.
He actually pulled a bit of an SP Yates on this one because he did the same thing where you just ship a load of time and you take a stage win, and it's like you've had a really successful race.
Ciccone's a weird one. I've never really understood what role he plays as a rider because he's just.
I think you're right because so many people are always thinking Ciccone's in there for the GC, and then he ends up stage hunting. Yeah,
and is he also? What did he win? He won. Was it Amstel Gold, Flanders, something like Flanders? Did he not win? Flanders?
No, I think you're thinking of Bettiol.
I might be thinking of Bettiol. Ciccone did some. Oh no, Ciccone was in yellow at the Tour.
He was.
When?
Take a stab, Tom. Nobody's going to look it up. 2020, should we say 2020?
2019, stages 6 to 7. So stages 6 and 7.
Okay. Okay. Now, what I liked about the Ciccone win, and wasn't anything to do with his bike riding, which was obviously admirable and very good and worthy of praise. What I liked about it was he pulled what I would refer to as a sepkus on the line and absolutely biffed his sunglasses into the sky.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, more riders need to do this, I think.
Did anyone catch them? Because is he not like, it's not like Geraint Thomas, who's desperate for his 2009 pair of Oakleys back every time he loses them.
I'm sure somebody caught them, but it's quickly becoming the cycling equivalent of taking your top off when you score a goal. Except
there's not much else you can do with it. You've got to zip up, keep the sponsors happy. You can't lob the bike somewhere, can you? So what else are you supposed to do?
It would be reckless to throw your helmet as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's the next best thing, unless you've got stuff in your back pockets that you'd empty. But like,
no one
an
really
energy
wants
gel is worthless.
No one wants a glove off you, do they?
No. The best thing you can do in that situation is just lob your sunglasses. And then obviously we had, not to hark back to what I was just saying, but Guillaume Martin doing the Lord's work, going on the attack to kick a certain convicted doper out of the top 10. But we'll not go on to that, Tom. Should we have a look at what's coming up?
We will, yes. They are, as we record this now, it is Monday, and they're all having a well-deserved rest in Salo, which is on the shores of Lake Garda. Looks a very lovely place. Anywhere in the Italian lakes, I'll be honest, at any time of the year. Always pretty nice.
It's a safe bet, isn't it?
Yeah. I've been past on the train between Milan and Venice.
Is this another travel story?
No, I've never been, but actually very interesting. Because Salo was the capital of the Italian Socialist Republic, which was... it's like the Italian equivalent of Vichy France. It was their German puppet state during the war. It was where Mussolini was based.
I did know this. He went in exile there or something, didn't he?
Yeah. So for 2 years, it was the capital of fascist Italy, because I think the Allies were coming up from the south and they got kicked out of Rome or something. And this is where they ended up.
Now, when I said we'd look forward to what's going on, I wasn't really expecting you to bring up fascism, Tom.
Okay. Well, quickly move on if you need to.
Should we talk about some tough climbs?
Yeah, go for it.
Tuesday, tomorrow, stage 16. In the middle of the stage, we have the almighty Mortirolo. And it's a shame it comes in the middle of the stage, because it basically means that nothing's really going to happen on it, I don't think.
I know.
Nothing consequential. We're not going to have people attacking like crazy up it. If it was a summit finish, we'd get that. No,
it's a long stage as well. It's over 200k. So you're really going to have to keep something in reserve.
And then we've got, for the next, how many stages is it? We've just had stage 15. So by my maths, that's 6 stages left.
Correct. Tomorrow is also the Sforzato wine stage.
Any more to add on that?
No, never heard of it before. But
well, I guess we've had the cheese stage, so it only makes sense to have the wine stage.
Exactly.
So we've got that. I think 4 of the next 6 stages are like high mountain stages, which is how the Giro always racks up.
Yeah, and obviously the final stage is a time trial. There's just one bit of flat on Wednesday for them to have a bit of a break.
Well, even the time trial's not flat either. The time trial's got a big lump in the middle. And then quite a technical, like 8-kilometer descent into the amphitheatre.
I loved that finish in Milan when Teo won a couple of years ago. That was a stunning finish. But this, I have to say, this finish in Verona is really quite picturesque as well.
Well, look, last time the race finished in Verona was, I think, 2019. And it was won by a certain Richard Carapaz in a final day time trial. He won in the pink jersey. It's looking like that's probably going to happen again.
Well, he's put himself in pole position at the moment, only by 7 seconds, but he's...
I think it's 9 seconds.
Okay. Do you want to call it 8, or do you want to quickly Google what it actually is?
No, let's compromise. Let's call it 8. Let's just hope that the Giro is going by our timings as well.
As I said, I don't think those will be the time gaps by the time we get to Verona next weekend.
Oh, you think we're looking at somebody, a certain Ecuadorian, really pulling away at the top?
Or really falling off. I'm just saying, with 4 high mountain stages to come, it'll be very surprising if we carry the exact same time gaps all the way through, if they all come to the line together every day.
Well, what I would say is keep an eye on Emmanuel Buchmann in 7th.
Here we go.
Because he's 2 minutes down. He's in good stead here, and he's always very good in the high mountains. He never wins anything.
He's
always
why you
there.
tipped him for the Vuelta.
He's always there. And now I've said that, he's going to fall off one of these mountains.
Pull out tomorrow.
Yeah, now I've said that, I've cursed him. But keep an eye on him. Anyway, Tom, if people want to get in contact with us, where can they do that?
They can do so on Twitter and Instagram at TTPDCST. I know I went a bit quickly there this time, but if you don't know it by now, then where have you been anyway? That's where we'll be.
Perfect. Until then, Tom, I guess next time we will be going through whoever's won the Maglia Rosa.
We will. A nice little recap.
A full race recap next time.
Yeah, after Verona. And I'll try not to throw too many Romeo and Juliet lines in there.
Wonderful. Will you get back to your GCSE English books, Tom? The listener, everybody else, thank you for listening to this podcast. Tom, thank you for being here as always. Thank you for chatting with me. And we'll catch up next week.
See you soon, everyone.
Take care.